Broadly speaking, there are three different types of fund you can invest in: active funds, passive funds, and funds that give you exposure to specific risk factors, also known as factor funds. Now, the evidence is pretty clear that paying for actively managed funds is not worth it. Some investors choose instead to invest entirely in low-cost index funds, in other words, funds that track the whole market. But for those who are willing to accept more volatility, there is a case for trying to beat the market using factor funds. Here's Gerard O'Reilly from Dimensional Fund Advisors.
What do investors do? Investors save, so they forego consumption today to grow their wealth in excess of inflation so that they can consume more tomorrow. That's why most people save. They save for retirement or consumption in the future. And by consuming less today, more in the future. If you can increase the expected return of a portfolio, there's two things that you can do with that. You can lower the amount that they have to save today to afford a similar level of consumption in the future, or you can have them afford more in the future so they can live an even better life in the future for making sacrifices today.
The problem is there are literally hundreds of different factors to choose from. It's very important, if you go down the factor investing route, that you do so in a very careful and methodical way.
Because the market is a good portfolio to own, as you go about increasing expected returns by pursuing size, value, profitability premiums, you don't want to end up with a portfolio that's inferior to the market, that's a lot less diversified, that has much higher turnover, that has much higher costs. And what we've been able to do at Dimensional is pursue those premiums in a very diversified, very cost efficient, very low turnover way, so that people, on expectation, can afford to consume more in the future by investing in funds and so on that pursue these premiums than they would by just investing in the market.
So how many risk factors should you seek exposure to? And crucially, which ones?
You really have to examine what each new variable brings to the table. Does it improve your understanding of expected returns, and in particular differences in expected returns across stocks? And does that enhanced understanding allow you to build a better portfolio? And so that is case by case. So as an example, Dimensional started off with small cap portfolios back in the early 80s and added value in the 90s, and then in the late and early 2000s into the 2010s added profitability. Each one of those enhanced our understanding of what drives differences in expected returns and enabled us to build diversified, so no loss of diversification, no increase in portfolio turnover, but better, more reliable portfolios as you added a new premium.
In summary then, investing passively in the whole market is a sensible option. If you want to try to beat the market, you need exposure to different risk factors, principally size, value, and profitability. There's no guarantee, of course, but if you're patient and disciplined, that at least gives you the potential to outperform the market over the long term.